been wellness coaching for about the last 3 years. And wellness coaching is the place where I have found that I could make significant changes for people or help them to see that the changes they can make on their own wellness profile. Now, I'm going to have you walk through doing a wellness profile today. There's a handout that I have in there, and I want you to grab a pen. And while you're eating, I want you thinking about being able to assess yourself as we go through each one of these things that are on this particular wellness profile. We'll have a chance to practice a little bit because you've already heard about environmental health. Now, some of you may have never even given that any thought at all. So when you're grading yourself today, we're going to be grading yourselves from 1 to 10 on a score from 1 to 10. 1 meaning not so much, 10 meaning I've got this. So when you were listening to Julie, were you saying, you know, I know this, I'm taking care of this, I'm taking care of this, or were you going, what? So if you were saying, what, you get yourself a 1 on this little area here. So there's a list underneath your wheel. So beside environmental health, give yourself a score, 1 to 10. Where do you think you sit in there? And then we're going to go to financial health. When you were listening to Stephanie, how did you feel about that? Or do you feel like you could score yourself, look, I'm doing a really good job, I've got a great plan, I'm working my plan, I got this? Or are you someplace maybe at a 5, I've got a plan but I'm not working it? So give yourself a score on your financial health. Where do you think you are? Give yourself a number down there. And then we're going to go to hydration. I did want to add to Emily's little thing about hydration. There is a specific amount of water that you need to take in on a daily basis, and they do use a standard of 8 glasses of water a day. But the truth of the matter is that it's based on your body weight and your activity level. But the assumption that my husband, who weighs about 60 pounds more than me, and one of my girlfriends who weighs about 40 pounds less than me need the same amount of water is not true. It's 50%. There is an argument between 50 and 55, but we use 50 as a standard. 50% of your body weight in fluid ounces is what you need to be consuming on a daily basis to nourish all of those cells in your body, to feed all of those systems that Emily talked about. Now, when we talk about 50% of your body weight in fluid ounces, no, you cannot count any caffeinated beverages. No, you cannot count any sugared, anything that you put sugar in or that had sugar in it. And no, you cannot count your alcohol. Those work on the negative side of that. So make sure when you do get a certain amount of hydration through fruits and vegetables. There is a certain amount there, but you have to be drinking or eating a lot of fruits and vegetables to make up that percentage of water. So the recommendation is to have between 10 and 12 ounces of room temperature water first thing in the morning, and then drink about 8 ounces every hour till you get to that, your number, whatever your number is. So write that down, 50% of your body weight. Now score yourself. How are you doing with your hydration? 1 to 10, how are you doing? 10, you're drinking exactly what you need. You know you're consuming it. You're taking care of your body. 1, meaning you're not thinking about it at all. And someplace in between there, give yourself a little number at the bottom of your page. Then I'm going to hit the rest of these guys over here. You know, knowing is at least 90% of this. Doing, then you have to start doing too. But I'm going to give you as much information as I can in a short period of time. So diet and food choices. Now, that's under nutrition, of course, but I do put those separately because what you might have diet-wise, say traditionally, culturally, or what you like, and what you actually choose are two different things. So when you're scoring yourself, you need to think about these things. 1, do you know how many calories you need to sustain you right where you're at today? It's not the same as what I need. It's not the same as what my husband needs. And it's based on your height, your weight, your age, and your activity level. There's a formula that you can use to find that out. It's an easy formula, so if anybody's interested, they can get in touch with me. But it's how many calories you need to sustain you right where you are. So, of course, that's the number you're going to be using if you want to gain weight or you want to lose weight. Or if you want to maintain where you're at, you're happy where you're at, you need to know what those numbers are. So do you know that? And the other thing I wanted to ask you about was, are you aware that the pyramid flipped upside down? Have you seen the new food pyramid? You have? That it's like that, it used to be all grains at the bottom, now it's all fruits and vegetables at the bottom, protein and fats in the middle, and grains, and it's actually non-processed grains at the top. They're not even talking about processed grains anymore. So where are you? 1 to 10. How are you doing with your food choices? How are you doing nourishing your body? That's the question. How are you doing nourishing your body? 1 to 10, give yourself a little score. Exercise and fitness. same thing that's been going on for years and years and years. We still have to address cardiovascular wellness. We have to address flexibility, strength, balance. How we go about it has changed. Exercise physiology is a science, and like all sciences, it's evolutionary, so it changes, and we're learning new things every day. But addressing those issues are important. If you're not, if you don't have an active lifestyle, I mean, how active is your lifestyle? If you're a painter, if you're a roofer, and you're climbing up and down ladders, carrying heavy things, you're probably addressing quite a few of those things. But if you're behind your desk, or you're behind the steering wheel and you're driving 80% of your day, then you're not living an active lifestyle. So then you have to do formal exercise, and that's when you end up having to do some things on your own. So how are you doing with your fitness and your wellness? 1 being I'm not doing anything, 5 meaning I have a plan and I get it to about 50% of the time, and 10 meaning I'm doing what I need to do. I know what I need to do and I'm getting there, and I feel good, I'm functional. The next one, sleep and rest, which is one of those things that people are addressing more and more, even in the medical field this year, last year and this year. Men need 6 to 7 hours, women need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Every cell in your body is repaired and renewed during your sleep, every one of them. And there is no such thing as making it up on the weekends. It doesn't work for your body that way. It can work a little bit emotionally that way, but it doesn't work for your body. So how are you doing with your sleep? You know, there's a test that they're doing in California right now. When they pull them over for erratic driving, some of them are testing for alcohol, of course, and drug use, but also for sleep deprivation, because very much of the same symptoms come up with lack of sleep. Your judgment's impaired, your body is under stress, you're probably producing a little bit more cortisol. So how are you doing with your sleep? Are you getting the rest that you need on a daily basis? Give yourself a score. I hope you're doing this because we're going to be finishing it up with an end mark, and I need you to have those numbers ready for yourself. So 1 to 10, how are you doing? Stress is the next one, and stress is one of those things that, again, people are talking more and more about. When we look at people who are looking to lose weight, stress is one of the big things we look at. I mean, we really do. Stress is good for you. There is good, bad, and bad stress, but the issue is how are you dealing with the excess stress? You know, the amount of stress that you have on a daily basis can either motivate you, like the oyster to produce a pearl, or it can wear you down and tire you out. I guess most of you have heard about cortisol, which is that hormone that we produce when we're overstressed, and that's the one that attracts belly fat, which is not anything that any of us want to deal with. So how are you dealing with your stress? Do you have a plan? Do you meditate? Actually, the number 1 thing with dealing with stress is exercise, is the number 1 on that list. Number 2 is prayer or meditation. So do you have a plan? Do you have something that you do? Breathing is really good. There's a nice breathing exercise that I like to share with everybody. And it's an inhale of 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for longer, so 6 to 8 counts. Will do amazing things to reset your brain. So how are you doing with stress? 1 to 10. Give yourself a little score on that one. Last one is fun and recreation. I should have made that first because that's one of the things that helps with all of these things, but and our attitudes. But a lot of us don't even think about planning that in our world. So unless you're living with a really fun person who provides you with a lot of fun on a daily basis, you probably need to plan your fun and your recreation on a daily basis. Do you have a plan to have a good time? Are you looking for that joy in your life? So score yourself again, 1 to 10. Let's see where you're at on that. I have to be honest with you. Mine are pretty good, except for this environmental health. The first time I heard Julie talk, I was like, holy macaroni. You know, I'm in this field, and I was so unaware of that. So I would probably give, now I am aware, but I haven't quite done enough stuff with it. So I'm probably at a 3 or 4 on that area. So let's see, take your numbers, put them as hash marks on your wheel. So on my environmental health, I'm going to be probably at a 3 or 4 here. On my sleep, I'm going to give myself a 10. I'm going to put a hash mark right here at the 10. On my exercise fitness, I'm about an 8.5. So go ahead and put your numbers on your wheel, and let's see where you're at. Now, then once you get those numbers on there, what I'm going to ask you to do is connect the dots. Now, some of you have already done this, and I know some of you have had some pretty lumpy wheels. So what I want you to think about is this is your wheel of life. So this is how you roll down the road, this like movement. How smooth is your ride? And what kind of things can you do to affect that ride? If you have a very bumpy wheel, if you've connected your dots and you look like a square peg, maybe you have to work on the things that are lower and bring them up to speed. But those are the things you want to focus on. So don't waste your time on the things that you're at a 10 or 9. Work on the things that you're a little bit lower. If anybody has any questions, I'll be hanging around afterwards. Thank you very much.
Very much. I again want to thank the Mainline chapter. Speaking of focus, wellness, and organization, that just hummed right along. We got lots of good information.